The forbidden threshold. The black hole Nexus 7 hung in the void like a silent predator, a cosmic monster that had devoured light and matter for eons. Its accretion disk spun in hypnotic patterns of superheated plasma, the only visible evidence of the impossible singularity hidden at its core. For thousands of cycles, every spacefaring species in the galactic consortium had given this region of space a wide berth, marking it with warning buoys and designating it as a prohibited zone under penalty of exile. 27 expeditions had ventured too close over the millennia. 27 expeditions had vanished without a trace. No debris, no distress signals, nothing but silence. The HFY, masters of gravitational engineering, had lost an entire science fleet. The crystalline Mithril had sacrificed 3 of their most advanced vessels in an attempt to deploy remote probes. None had survived long enough to transmit data back. A cosmic grave, the consortium elders called it, a place where the laws of physics collapse, where reality itself unravels. No technology can withstand it. No mind can comprehend it. But humans had always been different. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the Horizon Breaker, gazing at the swirling majesty of Nexus 7. Unlike the aliens who recoiled from its presence, she felt a primal pull, not fear, but curiosity, wonder even. At 42, she had spent most of her life pushing boundaries that others considered absolute. When every alien species said a neutron star colony was impossible, humans built one. When they claimed the methane storms of Titan couldn't be harnessed, humans created storm-riding energy platforms. Now they faced the ultimate barrier, the event horizon of a supermassive black hole. Still admiring the view, Captain. Dr. Elias Wright joined her at the viewport, his dark features illuminated by the eerie glow of the accretion disk. The ship's chief scientist had been Maya's closest friend since their academy days. "It's beautiful, in a terrifying way," she replied. "Hard to believe we're actually going in there." Wright nodded. "The consortium representatives are still demanding we abort. The HFY ambassador threatened to cut all diplomatic ties if we proceed." Maya smiled. "Let them. They've been trying to hold us back since we first left Earth. Too dangerous, too reckless, too human." She emphasized the last word with a hint of pride. "Speaking of which," Wright said, "Kaveri wants to show you something." Maya followed him through the corridors of the Horizon Breaker, a vessel unlike any other in human history. Its hull was composed of densified neutronium alloy, reinforced with quantum stabilizers designed to maintain structural integrity, even under extreme gravitational stress. The ship's power core, a miniaturized fusion reactor wrapped in layers of exotic matter, hummed with barely contained energy. The science lab was a hive of activity. Engineers and physicists moved between holographic displays, finalizing calculations and running last-minute simulations. At the center stood Lieutenant Sora Kaveri, the ship's communications specialist, her fingers dancing across an interface panel. "Captain," she said without looking up, "I've isolated the signal pattern. 3 months ago, Earth's Deep Space Array had detected something impossible, a repeating signal emanating from within Nexus 7. Not from the accretion disk, not from the area around the black hole, but from inside it, beyond the event horizon, where nothing, not even information, should be able to escape." The holographic display showed a pulsing waveform, structured and deliberate. "It's definitely artificial," Kaveri continued. "The pattern contains mathematical constants, pi, phi, the square root of 2, universal concepts that any advanced civilization would recognize." "Any idea what it's saying?" Maya asked. "Not exactly a message, Captain. More like a beacon, a call. Someone or something wants to be found." Commander James Okafor, the ship's tactical officer, crossed his arms. "Or it's a trap." "The consortium believes so," Wright added. "The Mithril representative suggested it might be a natural phenomenon we're misinterpreting." Maya studied the signal. Convenient explanation from a species too afraid to investigate themselves. When Earth had announced its intention to send an expedition into Nexus 7, the Galactic Consortium had reacted with horror. Their ambassadors spoke of madness, of suicide, of the arrogance of a young species that didn't understand cosmic dangers. They cited regulations, treaties, scientific impossibilities. Earth had listened politely, then proceeded anyway. "Final systems check complete," reported Chief Engineer Lena Patel over the comms. "The gravitational shielding is at 100% capacity. Hull integrity optimal. Quantum tethers are primed and ready." Maya nodded. "Gather the crew in the main hall. It's time." The 200 crew members of the Horizon Breaker represented Earth's finest: scientists, engineers, military personnel. They stood in attentive rows as Maya addressed them. "In 1 hour, we will attempt what no sentient species has ever done: a controlled entry into a black hole. The consortium calls this mission insanity. They say we're throwing our lives away in pursuit of the impossible." She paused, her gaze sweeping across their faces. "But that's what they've said about every major human achievement. Impossible is just another word for not yet done." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. "We've prepared for every contingency we can imagine. The Horizon Breaker is the most advanced vessel ever built. But I won't lie to you. We're stepping into the unknown. Physics as we understand it breaks down beyond the event horizon. What we'll find there, if we survive, no one can predict." She straightened her shoulders. "This is your last chance. Anyone who wishes to remain behind will be transferred to the support vessel with no mark on your record. No questions asked, no judgment." Silence filled the hall. Not a single person moved. Maya felt a swell of pride. This was humanity at its best, facing the impossible not with fear, but with determination. "Very well. To your stations. We make history today." As the crew dispersed, Wright lingered behind. "You know the quantum tethers might not work, right? The theory is sound, but we've never tested them in conditions like this." Maya finished. "I know. That's why we're here, Elias. To find out." The quantum tethers were humanity's insurance policy, a technology designed to maintain a connection to normal space even when crossing the event horizon. In theory, they would allow the Horizon Breaker to transmit data back and, if necessary, be pulled back out. In theory. The final hour passed in methodical preparation. Maya took her place on the bridge, surrounded by her command crew. Through the main viewport, Nexus 7 loomed larger than ever, a perfect circle of absolute darkness ringed by swirling light. "Gravitational shielding at maximum," reported Patel. "Quantum tethers engaged and stable," added Wright. "Final approach vector locked," said Lieutenant Commander Rachel Santos, the ship's navigator. Maya took a deep breath. "Take us in, slow and steady. 1/4 thrust." The Horizon Breaker glided forward, the pull of the black hole growing stronger with each passing moment. Warning systems blared as the sensors detected the increasing gravitational gradient, but the shields held firm. "Event horizon in 30 seconds, Santos announced, her voice tense but controlled. Maya opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, brace for event horizon crossing. We don't know what this will feel like, but stay calm and trust your training." The darkness before them seemed to deepen, to reach out toward the ship with hungry tendrils. The hull creaked under strain as the gravitational forces threatened to tear the vessel apart. "Event horizon in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Then reality itself twisted. The viewport showed impossible geometries as space-time warped around them. Some crew members cried out as their perceptions struggled to make sense of what they were experiencing. The ship's systems fluctuated wildly, power surging and dropping in chaotic patterns. Maya gripped her chair, fighting the disorientation. "Status report. Hull integrity at 82% and falling," Patel called out. "The shields are barely holding. Quantum tethers still connected, but the signal is degrading," Wright added. The ship shuddered violently, then suddenly stabilized as they passed fully beyond the event horizon. The violent twisting of reality settled into something else, something still strange, but navigable. And before them, impossibly, lay a sight no sentient being had ever witnessed and lived to tell about. "My God," breathed Santos. "Captain, you need to see this." Through the viewport, where there should have been only crushing gravity and the final moments before annihilation, they saw structures, massive geometric formations that seemed to both exist and not exist simultaneously, stretching into dimensions the human mind couldn't fully comprehend. And at the center of it all, a pulsing light, the source of the signal that had drawn them here. "We made it," Maya whispered, awe in her voice. "We're inside Nexus 7. The bridge crew stared in stunned silence at what lay before them, a reality that defied everything they'd been told was possible. Something constructed, something designed, something waiting beyond understanding. The interior of Nexus 7 defied comprehension. Where physics dictated there should be only a singularity of infinite density, they instead found what could only be described as a pocket universe, a realm where the normal laws of spacetime had been rewritten or suspended. "Sensors are detecting a stable environment outside the hull," reported Okafor, his voice tinged with disbelief. "There's atmosphere. Radiation levels minimal. Gravity approximately 0.8 Earth standard." "That's impossible," Wright muttered, but the data scrolling across his console confirmed it. "The pressure should be crushing us. The tidal forces should be tearing us apart at the atomic level." Yet the horizon breaker hung suspended in this impossible space, relatively stable. Before them, the structures they'd glimpsed during their crossing had resolved into clearer forms, massive geometric shapes interconnected by luminous bridges, forming what could only be described as a megastructure of staggering proportions. "The signal is coming from the central hub," Kaveri said, pointing to the largest structure. "It's stronger now, more complex." Maya studied the formation. "Can we approach safely?" "The gravitational shielding is holding," Patel confirmed. "Power levels are stabilizing. Whatever this place is, it doesn't follow the physics we expected inside a black hole." "Take us closer, Santos. Minimum thrust. Let's not take any chances." As the horizon breaker advanced toward the central structure, the crew began cataloging their observations. The megastructure appeared to be constructed from a material that simultaneously absorbed and emitted light, creating an effect like liquid shadow. Portions of it seemed to phase in and out of existence, as if occupying multiple states of reality simultaneously. "It's ancient," Wright said, analyzing the sensor readings. "The material composition suggests it's been here for millions, possibly billions of years." "Built by whom?" Maya wondered aloud. Her question was answered sooner than expected. As they approached the central hub, the signal changed, shifting from its repeating pattern to something more complex. The ship's communications array lit up with incoming data. "We're being scanned," Kaveri reported. "Something is probing our systems, our databases. It's learning our language in real time." Before Maya could respond, the main viewport flickered, then resolved into a visual display. The image showed a being unlike any species humanity had encountered, a form composed of what appeared to be concentrated light and shadow, constantly shifting between states of matter and energy. "We are the Voidborn." The being's thoughts seemed to materialize directly in their minds, bypassing language barriers. "You are human, the first to reach us, the first to answer." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. Maya stepped forward. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth vessel Horizon Breaker. We received your signal." The being's form rippled. "Signal? Yes. Calling. Waiting. So long waiting. What is this place?" Wright asked. "How is this possible within a black hole?" "Not black hole. Gateway. Nexus. One of many throughout Cosmos." The being's thoughts became clearer as it adjusted to human cognition. What you call black holes are not endings, but beginnings, passages between layers of reality. The revelation stunned the crew. Black holes as gateways rather than cosmic dead ends. It contradicted everything science had established. We were once like you, the being continued. Physical, limited to 3 dimensions. We evolved, transcended, built the Nexus network to travel between realities, between universes. You built this. Maya gestured to the megastructure. Yes, many civilizations ago, many universal cycles. Over the next hours, the crew of the Horizon Breaker learned the truth that had eluded all sentient species. The Voidborn were the remnants of an ancient civilization that had discovered the true nature of black holes, not as destructive forces, but as natural phenomena that could be engineered into gateways between dimensions and even separate universes. They had constructed their nexus points throughout the cosmos, enabling instantaneous travel across the universe and beyond. But something had gone wrong. A catastrophic event. A collision between universes that the Voidborn called the Severance had damaged the network. The Voidborn themselves had been changed, losing their physical forms and becoming beings of pure energy and consciousness. Trapped, the Voidborn explained. Cut off. Cannot leave Nexus without physical vessels. Cannot maintain coherence in your reality. The other expeditions, Maya realized. The ones that came before us. What happened to them? The being's form darkened. Failed crossing. Physics different here. Their technology insufficient. Their understanding limited. They scattered. Atoms. Energy. Nothing remained whole. But we made it, Wright said. Why? What's different about our approach? Your shields. Your understanding of quantum mechanics. Primitive, but sufficient. And something else. Something unique. What? Maya asked. Curiosity that outweighs fear. Will to continue despite certainty of failure. This trait, uniquely developed in your species. Maya exchanged glances with her crew. What the Voidborn described as unique was simply humanity's defining characteristic, the drive to explore, to know, to understand, even at great personal risk. We need your help, the Voidborn continued. Repair the Nexus. Restore the network. Allow us to return to the greater universe. Before Maya could respond, the structure around them shuddered violently. Alarms blared throughout the Horizon Breaker. What's happening? She demanded. Nexus instability, the Voidborn explained, its form flickering more rapidly. Your presence, unexpected variable. Accelerating decay. The gateway is collapsing. Patel's voice came urgently over the comms. Captain, we need to leave immediately. The quantum tethers are weakening. If they fail completely, we'll be trapped here. Maya turned to the Voidborn. How do we stop the collapse? Cannot be stopped. Too far progressed. You must leave. And you. Your people. The being's form dimmed. We remain. Wait for next opportunity. Next brave species. Maya shook her head. No, there has to be another way. If black holes are gateways, there must be other exits besides the one we came through. The Voidborn seemed to hesitate. Exists theoretical passage. Dangerous. Untested. Through dimensional fold at Nexus core. Show us, Maya demanded. As the megastructure continued to deteriorate around them, the Voidborn guided the Horizon Breaker deeper into the Nexus. The ship's systems strained against forces they were never designed to withstand, but held together through Patel's engineering genius and the determination of the crew. If I'm interpreting this correctly, Wright said, studying the information the Voidborn had shared, we might be able to use the collapse itself to create enough energy for a dimensional jump. But we'd need to precisely calculate the exit coordinates. Can we bring them with us? Maya asked, gesturing to the Voidborn. Store their energy patterns somehow. Wright considered the problem. Our quantum storage systems might be able to contain a few of their consciousness patterns, but not all of them. and we don't know if they could survive in our dimension. We must try, Maya insisted. Prepare the storage systems. The Voidborn seemed startled by the offer. You would risk further danger to save us. Why? Because that's what humans do. Maya replied simply. We don't leave people behind. As the horizon breaker approached the Nexus core, a swirling vortex of energy patterns the human senses could barely process, the crew worked frantically to prepare for their desperate escape attempt. Patel reconfigured the quantum drives to harness the collapsing energies around them. Wright and Kaveri adapted the quantum storage systems to accommodate the Voidborn consciousness patterns. The Nexus is approaching critical instability, Santos warned. We have minutes at most. 7 of the Voidborn had transferred their consciousness patterns into the ship's systems, all that the storage capacity could handle. The rest remained behind, their forms growing dimmer as the Nexus continued to collapse. Course plotted through the dimensional fold, Santos reported. But I can't guarantee where we'll exit. The calculations are beyond our computational capabilities. Maya nodded grimly. It's a risk we'll have to take. Prepare for dimensional jump on my mark. The horizon breaker plunged toward the swirling core, its shield struggling against the immense energies being released by the collapsing Nexus. The hull groaned under stresses it was never designed to withstand. Systems began to fail across the ship. Now, Santos, take us through. The quantum drives engage, channeling the Nexus energies into a controlled dimensional fold. Reality twisted around them once more violently than during their entry. Several crew members lost consciousness as their minds failed to process what they were experiencing. For what seemed like an eternity, the horizon breaker existed in a state between states, neither here nor there, neither now nor then. Then, with a final surge of power, they broke through. The viewports cleared to show normal space, stars, distant planets, the familiar backdrop of the universe they knew. But something was different. Where are we? Maya asked, her voice hoarse. Santos checked the navigational systems, approximately 200 light-years from Nexus 7. And she hesitated, checking the readings again. 3 weeks after we entered. Time dilation effect. Maya let out a long breath. They had done it. They had entered a black hole and returned to tell the tale. And they hadn't come back empty-handed. The Voidborn? She asked. Consciousness patterns stable, Wright confirmed. They're adapting to our systems, learning to interface with our technology. They're talking to me, sharing information. Over the following days, as the horizon breaker made its way back to Earth space, the crew worked with their Voidborn passengers to understand what they had discovered. The knowledge they gained was revolutionary, a complete reassessment of black holes, quantum mechanics, and the very structure of the universe itself. When they finally re-established contact with Earth and the Galactic Consortium, the response was immediate and overwhelming. The alien representatives, who had predicted their certain doom, were stunned into rare silence. The Arcturi High Minister was the first to speak during the emergency consortium session. Impossible, he declared, his crystalline features reflecting his agitation. No vessel could survive crossing the event horizon. The human ship must have merely orbited the anomaly. In response, Maya transmitted a small fraction of the data they had collected, enough to prove conclusively where they had been and what they had found. We not only crossed the event horizon, she told the assembled representatives, we discovered that what we call black holes are actually gateways to other dimensions, other universes. The Voidborn, the beings we encountered inside Nexus 7, built a network of these gateways eons ago. And you brought these beings back with you. The mithril delegate's tone conveyed both fear and awe. 7 of them, yes. They're refugees from a civilization far older than any of ours, and they have knowledge that could transform our understanding of the universe. The implications were staggering. The technology to safely navigate black holes, to use them as transit points rather than obstacles, would revolutionize interstellar travel. The scientific insights offered by the Voidborn would advance physics by centuries, if not millennia. But perhaps most significantly, humanity's standing in the galactic community had been irrevocably changed. No longer could they be dismissed as reckless newcomers, too young to understand cosmic dangers. They had faced the ultimate barrier and crossed it, bringing back knowledge that benefited all sentient species. In the years that followed, human-led expeditions explored other black holes throughout the galaxy, gradually reactivating the ancient Nexus network with guidance from the Voidborn. New dimensions were discovered, new civilizations contacted. The universe proved far larger, far stranger, and far more interconnected than anyone had imagined. And it had taken human courage, that unique willingness to venture into the unknown despite the risks, to unlock it all. As Maya stood on the observation deck of the new Nexus research station, watching ships safely enter and exit Nexus 7, she reflected on the words of the first Voidborn they had encountered. Curiosity that outweighs fear, will to continue despite certainty of failure. It wasn't technology that had allowed humans to go where no other species dared. It was something far more fundamental, the defining trait of humanity itself. The drive to explore, to know, to understand. To step into the darkness and find the light beyond.